Hey guys, Sean Media just want to do a big shout out to Rugby League Culture Lounge. All the best this year, 2020.
Alright, oh, yeah! Fuck! YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. What a long day it was, man. 4 games of rugby league, and I must say, in the future, when they bring the 18th team in, you can't have 4 games in one day, mate. It's just going to kill you. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sunday Football Preseason Review. Week 1 of the 2023 NRL Trials, Preseason, whatever the hell you want to call it. To help me review all 4 games is rugby league YouTuber Haynsey. Backing up from last night. He's back again. Haynsey, first things first, mate. Up the chooks for your boys getting a nice win, and I love that new T-shirt of yours.
Yeah, it looks good, eh? Yeah. Oh, fuck, wrong side. Yeah, looking good, mate. Looking good. Oh, no, yeah, definitely a very impressive performance this afternoon. But yeah, we definitely got 4 games. Look, I didn't mind it. You know, it's great that the weekend flies so quick with footy. So yeah,
I don't know about you, bro, but 4 games in one day is just too much.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's a bit draining, that's for sure. Start at 12. The first game was at 1 o'clock, and the last game was at 7. So
yeah, for me,
it's pre-season, so
for me it was like 1:45 kickoff or whatever, and it's now 10 o'clock. So yeah, it's a long day.
Oh yeah, definitely a long day. But anyway, we got through them. We're here on the other side.
It was worse for me because it was 40 degrees here today, so I was dying.
But it was fucked, bro. It was fucked.
It was hot. And I don't have an aircon in my house, so it was even worse. But
I got the portable one in my room, but I got a pool.
I might have to go buy one. Anyway, before we get into the Sunday Football Preseason Review for Week 1 of the Trials, we're going to review all 4 games from today. Obviously, we don't want to be here for 45 minutes tonight because we're just buggered from today. So we're going to try and get through it pretty quickly. Before we get into it, I want to say hello to the live chat, as always. Hello to TJC Sports, Luke Melbourne Storm fan, SS Storm fan. We've got David Carner. We've got Devils_Cy. Cody Games PlayStation. We've got Jeffrey. He says, hey, Nick and Haynesy, how's it going, my friends? Going well, my friend. Everyone rolling in. Bosky's also in the live chat. I don't think 4 games in one day is going to work. I think maybe just bring back the Monday night fixture if you're going to have that. So overall, great weekend of footy. I don't think 4 games in the one day is going to be good for the game. I know next week we've got 4 games again on a Sunday. It's just draining. It really is. But
especially if you're trying to stream every game. So
yeah, exactly right. All right, I'll tell you what. We'll go back to the first game today. The Storm versus Roosters trial game review. We'll get into this one now. And the Roosters got away with a 32 points to 24 win over the Melbourne Storm. Now, this was a really decent game of footy. Now, I'll be honest with you, Haynesy, I know you live reacted to this game on YouTube. I did not like this game for a long time. I was really upset. I didn't like the way the game was going on. And then in the second half, it got better. It got a bit closer. The Roosters had their big names on the field, looking good. Melbourne had a bit of a fight back. I didn't mind the second half, but I found the first half quite boring. I'm not sure how you felt about it, Haynesy, but the Roosters seemed to be in control for most of the game.
Yeah, look, obviously it's the first hit out for both teams, regardless. So definitely, we had a little bit of changes in our lineup between now and full kickoff. We made a few changes, but no, look, it was an interesting start. It was, I think I was really impressed with our forwards to start the game. Fletcher Baker, Ben Thomas, Terrell May, those 3 standing out well. Like I said in my live stream, keep an eye out on Sissa Wong. He will be an absolute enforcer in years to come. I made some for my review on my YouTube channel. Go check it out, by the way. Not an ad, but an ad. But I had a few notes here. El Zackerman looked unreal on the left edge. And also our front rowers as well were really good as well. Then the second half, obviously, what's that fullback's name for Melbourne? What's his name?
Falungo.
Falungo, yeah. Yeah, he was exciting to watch, wasn't he?
Absolutely, it was.
Yeah, played really well. Yeah, in the second half we bring our main guns on. So I think you guys didn't watch it, so we bring on Jackson Polo. I wouldn't say he's a gun. Also, sorry, I forgot to mention how good in the halves. Jake Turpin and Sandon Smith played well, combined well together.
I didn't like Jake Turpin, bro. I'm going to be honest. I didn't like his game today. He did. For the first part of the game, I didn't like him. The second part of his game was good. He started really slow, and then he got going. I thought Sandon Smith was definitely the better half.
Yeah, and sometimes in a new club, you got to adjust yourself, and he did that. But they both linked up okay. I think the first try that was disallowed, that really linked up well with Ethan King, which I did say in the preview on Wednesday that I said look out for him as well. So and then so it was an okay start. Really good for both talent half. Then in the second half, we like I said, we bring our players on. Jackson Polo in his first game. The fat Orbo, I like to call him, Drew Hutchison.
Yeah.
Sam Walker, the Cheese, Egan Butcher, Victor Radley, Matt Lodge. We all bring those lads on, and you can just tell the tempo change in our lineup. I thought we were good. Cheese was good out of dummy half. He linked up with Radley well. Radley was passing through the middle really well, and just looked really good. And we looked really, a little bit of a spoiler, but if that links up really well throughout the season, imagine we've I know a lot of people are going to be thinking, it's a preseason challenge. The Storm had no players, but it was very promising to see. I was very impressed with how they linked up, and that's why I wanted them to play this weekend. We need to get our combinations right because
definitely
we're very slow the first half of the season last year. So if we get our combinations right, we'll be okay. But all in all, very happy with the performance, and I think Melbourne Storm fans should be proud of their performance too.
No doubt about it. Look, for me, the Roosters did have a few standouts. I thought that Junior Pogo, the centre, I thought he did some good things for him. Ben Thomas, like you said, thought he was very, very solid. I also like the look of Terrell May. Thought he also did some good things on the bench when he came on. I thought he looked all right. As for Melbourne, again, that young fullback, Falungo, did some good things. I didn't mind that winger from Warbrick. He looked all right as well. And Joe Chan and Chris Lewis and Bronson Garlick, they all look pretty good as well for Melbourne. And it was great to see Christian Welch back playing some football.
Yeah, he played all right too. Did you also notice that try from Grant Anderson? Do you recognize him?
Yes.
Which were 2 or 3 tries at the SCG on debut against us.
Yes, I do remember.
Yeah, so he scored a nice try.
All right. Well, to wrap up the review from this game between Melbourne and the Roosters, who would you say was the man of the match, best player on the ground?
Wow. What stands out?
Tough one.
Burnout outside the street. Sorry about that, guys. Look, it's so many to choose from.
I might go Sandon Smith.
I like Jake Turpin, if I'm honest. He was good.
Yeah, all
right. Jake Turpin and Ben Thomas. They're my two.
I'll go Sandon Smith for man of the match. But Ben Thomas close second. Last thing I'll mention on this game, Melbourne Storm and the Roosters, before we get to the Raiders Dogs game. Justin Olam, fractured arm by the looks of it.
Yeah.
He got injured early. Now that's big. From what I understand, Olam's going to be out till about round 4, round 5 of the NRL season now. How big of a blow is that for Melbourne, considering Pappenhausen's not going to be available, and now they've lost their centre in Olam?
Look, I don't think it'll be a too much of a loss, only because it's the early start of the season. Just say if this was a lead up to the finals and he does his fractured arm, then we have a problem. Melbourne would have a problem.
Definitely.
But if it's if it's not as bad, if it's just a clean break, no complications at all. But I'd say around about a 6 to 9 week injury. But yeah, look, I think he was a bit unlucky, and I think that's the risk when you play these big guns in a trial. And
Exactly.
I don't think it'll be too big of a loss, but they might feel it early on.
I think Melbourne are definitely going to be weaker in the outside backs to start the 2023 season. So, look, losing Olam to round 4, round 5 isn't as bad as what it could be, say, late in the year if Melbourne need to finish top 4 and they have to win 3 of the last 4 and they need Olam to play. So, they'll be fine, but definitely not ideal for Melbourne. But the Roosters get the win over the Storm in the first trial game, 32 points to 24 at Geelong Stadium.
I know what you like about the Melbourne Storm, but I know you're saying they're going to fall off this year. But from what they showed today, their depth is pretty good, and I think they'll be able
some good kids.
They'll be able to cover the injuries that they've got this year, and I think they'll be okay. They'll be okay. So don't worry, Storm fans, you guys will be all right this year.
All right, let's go to the next trial game, which was at Wayman Oval at Moriah. I think that's how you pronounce it. Bulldogs and the Raiders. Bulldogs, 34-18 winners over the Green Machine. And I got to say, the Dogs, they are probably the most hyped up NRL team going into this year. Out of all the teams that missed the 8 last year, they did play a lot of experience today. And I must say, I was very impressed by a lot of their players. I thought Josh Reynolds was outstanding. Reid Marnie at dummy half linked well with the likes of Ryan Sutton and Kyle Flanagan. I really enjoyed the way the Bulldogs played today, Haynsey. I was actually quite impressed with the Bulldogs. What did you make of this game between the Raiders and the Dogs?
Look, I didn't really see much of it because I was seeing Volkanovski get robbed in the UFC. But no, I watched the late of the second half, and I think it was when the Raiders made a little bit of a comeback. But from what I saw, bits and pieces, I thought the Dogs played really well, really composed in that game. It was great to see the likes of Josh Reynolds and Jared Croker have a hit around today. I think it's great to see that Jared Croker's finishing on his terms, not being medically retired. So, which is great to see. But I didn't see. I really didn't see much of that this game. I'm sorry, mate.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest with you. I did miss about 20 minutes of this game. I did have to duck to the shop. So at halftime, I had to go to the shop, and then I come back, and there was about 25 to go. So I did miss about 15 minutes of this game, but it didn't really matter because the Bulldogs were on a roll. They were looking good. Now, I know Matt Burton's obviously going to be the Bulldogs starting 5'8". That position for Matt Burton is locked in. And Kyle Flanagan is trying very hard to hold on to his spot at halfback. But I'm just going to say, don't be surprised if Josh Reynolds plays halfback for Canterbury. Don't be surprised because Reynolds, he can play halfback. He can organise a team. And I would not be surprised if the Bulldogs went that way. Because if the Gold Coast play Tanner Boyd in the halves with Toby Sexton, there's no reason why Josh Reynolds and Matt Burton can't work as a halves pairing. And we've seen a lot of teams play 2 5'8s together with one wearing the 7, and it has worked. So no knock on Kyle Flanagan. He did play hard today and he did a job. But Josh Reynolds, I'm telling you, he's pushing for that spot. He could be a halfback for the Dogs.
Yeah, look, he's definitely going to be interesting, and I think that's a good headache to have for Cameron Ciraldo. What I reckon will happen, I think he'll push for a 14 role, Josh Reynolds. Yes. I think the way it would work is you keep Flanagan, you keep Birdo in the halves, and if you have like a Josh Reynolds there, like he's going to bring that spark off the bench. He's a hometown boy from the area. And the thing is, though, he can play. He's like, just say there is an injury like Flanagan or Birdo goes
want to play the halves.
You pick Josh Reynolds. And I think I forgot his name, but there's a guy there who played 14 last year, but he's just an out and out hooker.
Famunu Brown.
Yeah, Brown. Yeah, he's a hooker, right? But you can have Josh Reynolds who can play in the halves and can also play hooker. So that would easily suit well. I just hope to God, is it round 2 or 3? The Dogs play the Tigers at Belmore.
Round 3.
Round 3. for fuck's sake, I'm sorry for swearing, guys, but make sure he has to play. He has to play.
He has to. Yeah.
Bring him to Belmore. Like, what a homecoming. His first game back at the Dogs is at Belmore, where he belongs.
Exactly right. And look, they've also got Bailey Biondo Otto, who can play hooker off the bench as well, and a little bit in the halves. So the Dogs have a little bit of depth in that department, which is good. Couple of real standouts for the Bulldogs today, bro. I thought Luke Thompson and Ryan Sutton in the forward pack were outstanding. I thought Max King did a good job. Jacob Preston started in the back row. I don't know much about him. He was also very good for Canterbury. Corey Waddell trying to keep his spot in the 17. It was good for him as well. And I want to give a mention to a guy that I've been watching closely for a little while now. He just signed with the Bulldogs. He was at the Sharks. Big Franklin Pele. Keep a close eye on him. If he gets in that Bulldogs 17, comes off the bench, it's going to be scary stuff. He's a very, very good player to keep an eye on. Haynsey, Canberra.
Yep.
They didn't play a lot of experience. They had a little bit in Croker and Savage. The halves, not much experience there. Matt Frawley's been around for a bit. Danny Levi played. Canberra. Do you expect them to did you expect them to do much with this trial game today?
Like the thing with all the teams this weekend, it's their first official hit out of the season. So it's sorry, I'm mixing up my words here. Sorry, guys. It's just basically a hit out for these young fellas. Get out there, have a crack, dust off the cobwebs.
Yeah,
and just get into the mode again. Like, it's been a long preseason. I think I heard Justin Holbrook say it before their game against the Broncos. He said it's a long, tough preseason. Today is all about them just going out there and having a hit, having a run. That's all these trials are about. They don't it's different with different teams, but from the I think for the Titans and Broncos, we'll get to it very shortly. But I think for them, it was all working about combinations. The Roosters was all about working combinations. While for most other teams that we saw this weekend, it was all about just going out there, getting some experience, giving these young fellas a crack. And that's what we saw from Canberra. And we saw with Jared Croker in this game too, that he was out there just to dust off the cobwebs. It's been a long preseason, obviously with a broken shoulder, but he's back out there now. So it won't be too interesting about this game. It'll be different next week too, when it's the last hit out before round one. So it'll be different to see what teams do.
Yeah, I think all the big name players will have a hit out next week. That's for sure. Not much more to really say on this game other than the Bulldogs got the win over the Raiders, 34-18. Who would you say was the man of the match on this game?
I have no idea, mate. I have no idea. You stumped me on this one. You watched this game more than me, so
I might just give it to Ryan Sutton. I thought he played well, scored a try, did some good things. So I'll go Ryan Sutton.
Yep. I'll take that.
Yeah, all right. We'll go with Ryan Sutton. All right, we'll go to the next one. This game was up in Cairns. Cowboys and the Dolphins. 22-all draw it ends up being. And look, for the most part, the Cowboys were in control for most of this game. And then the Dolphins, they found a bit of momentum. They found a bit of excitement. But ends up a 22-all draw. I live streamed this game. I live reacted to it. I said in the stream, the Cowboys probably deserve to lose this game the way we played in the second half. But again, it's only a trial. And realistically, the only players from the Cowboys team today that are NRL standard and that are in the best Cowboys 17 is probably someone like Ben Hampton, Tom Chester, and Tamo, and maybe Jajeski. Outside of them four, everyone else is practically Queensland Cup. So not much to really take out of it for the Cowboys. And look, you have a look at the Dolphins on the other end. They played, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They played about 10 to 11 players that are going to be in the Dolphins' best starting team come round one. So the Dolphins had a lot more quality than the Cowboys did today. But we ended up with a 22-all draw. Haynsey, I thought this game was quite sloppy, to be honest.
Yeah, a lot of errors in this game. But look, you can't really can't say here in a trial and say, for example, the Cowboys couldn't beat the Dolphins, or the Dolphins with a full strength team couldn't beat the Cowboys reserve grade. That doesn't matter in these trials.
Exactly right.
But this is the first time that we've seen obviously last week it was probably the Red Cliff Dolphins playing last week, not the Dolphins, the Red Cliff Dolphins. If you guys get what I mean by their reserve grade team, the Red Cliff Dolphins. This was their best team that they played, and they played 2 games. So obviously in this game, it was all about getting combinations right. Because none of these guys have played together before. So that's what this game was about. It was all about them guys getting out there and playing their first team for the Dolphins. Obviously, next week will be different. They'll get better next week. Come round 1, they'll be better than they were 3 weeks ago. Obviously, they'll lose because look who they're playing. But they'll get better between now and round 1. So you can't really judge the Dolphins after their first game. And that's what. Right. Regardless of the result in round 1, they are going to get better between round 1 and round 27 at the end of the year. So you can't really judge one game. They were impressive. Yeah. They were okay today. A few cobwebs, a few errors, but that's footy. I mean, we saw that in all teams this weekend. So don't hate on the Dolphins just yet.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Now, I just want to make note of a couple of Cowboys players that played really well. That young winger, Madriki, on the left side on the wing, he was awesome to watch. He's exciting. And that other winger, Darby, outstanding, very good.
I think the first one you said, I think he's from Mackay. He played 3 games for the Mackay Cutters last year.
Yes, that's correct. And then you got that Robert Derby on the wing. Tom Chester, there's a lot of talk of him playing jersey 14 for the Cowboys this year. He played fullback and did some great things. Shibasaki, good depth. Brennan Elliott, also a bit of a journeyman.
Yep.
Ben Hampton did some good things at 5'8", I thought. Tamo, he played big minutes, Tamo, which surprised me a little bit. Jajeski played half a game. The young hooker here, I don't know anything about him. Kyle Schneider. Don't know nothing about him. He did some great things. Riley Price. I reckon he'll make his NRL debut this year. As for the rest of them that were on the bench, I have no idea who any of them are on the bench. But I just want to pinpoint a couple of them players there. Thomas Duffy has been given a big rap. He might be taking over Chad Townsend when he retires in a couple of years. So
where's he around him? Where's he play normally? Like, is he the Black Hawks or Northern Pride?
He's up there somewhere. I'm not sure which club.
Okay.
It was a good game, this one. The Cowboys played all right with their young kids.
Yeah.
As for the Dolphins, couple standouts for them. Bro, I know it's a trial, but we've been saying this for a long time now. Jermaine Osako not a goddamn fullback. Good Lord. He's a winger. He's a winger, bro. He's not a fullback, is he?
No, definitely not.
He's a winger.
Yeah, he's a winger. But you play then you probably have to play the hammer at fullback. So
the hammer will be fullback for sure. You and Aiken played well
there, and obviously, apparently Wayne Bennett wasn't up there too. So
no, he wasn't, which was strange.
But with that, I think it's a few bit of an experiments for the next few days, next few weeks to get what Wayne Bennett wants round 1. So he had Osako there today. He's probably the safest option out of the two. You would have thought. Didn't work out well. If the hammer plays next week and plays a blinder, I think that's where they'll go with next week. So
easily.
I just want to point out Riley Price. He played well for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think he'll make his NRL debut this year at some stage.
Yeah, I reckon so. Ray Stone looks in for a big year too, doesn't he?
Yeah, look, we'll go through it. We'll get to Ray Stone. We'll just go through a couple of standout players from the Dolphins now. Oliver Gildard, he had a bit of a shocking start with the kickoffs, but he played a fair game. He redeemed himself a little bit. Ewan Aiken played good.
Yeah.
Milford and Katoa. Milford was shocking. Some of his discipline, man. That one before our time where he got binned. What was he thinking?
Yeah, bit of a brain fade for good old Anthony Milf, but
crazy.
Yeah, the good all round performance from the Dolphins. A good first hit out, the first official trial. So
the halfback
Isaiah Katoa. A lot of hype around him. He played really well.
So a lot of people have been saying about the Dolphins this year, like, oh, they haven't recruited well, that they don't have no big marquee signing. But just realize that they've got their reserve grade team in the Red Cliff Dolphins, where they've been pretty successful. They've been making fun. I think they made the grand final in the Q Cup last year. So they don't have a bad reserve grade team. So they can build from within. That's what I've been saying all along with the Dolphins. If they can build from within, and that's when you get your marquee signings. Sell the product before you buy, kind of thing.
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. So we'll get to the forward pack there. Jared Wallace, he did some really good things for him tonight. I just want to make note, Jared Wallace may be he might be suspended for round 1. He might be in trouble. He did a real late cheap shot on Ben Hampton. The referee didn't blow a penalty at the time. I couldn't believe it. I just want to make note that if Jared Wallace is suspended for round 1, I would not be surprised, because what he did was pretty stupid. Herman SES, he did some great things. Connolly Lamelli looked pretty good. But, my God, Ray Stone, Haynsey, mate, the blood that come out of his eyes, mate, he is a workhorse, Ray Stone.
That's what you want to see. That you want to see like a little bit of identity in the club, and he'll bring it. He'll bring the DNA of the Dolphins this year. It's good to see.
Absolutely.
And we all know his last game he played was the match winner against the Storm. So,
yeah, he's a workhorse. The last thing that I'll say on the Cowboys-Dolphins game, Dolphins are up 22-18. 10 seconds, well, it's about 40 seconds to go. Madriki went over in the corner. Cowboys had a chance to win the game from the sideline, missed the conversion, ends up in a 22-all draw. Probably a fair result, right?
Yeah, look, Dolphins did well to work their way back into the game. I think it was like 18-4 one stage or something like that. And
the Cowboys were out to a good lead, yeah.
Got back into the game, and look, we all thought in the end, the Dolphins they snatched this one, but and then the Cowboys got one back. We thought, hang on a moment here, they could have snatched it at the end. I can just imagine you going off your absolute face with that try. You thought, oh, here we go, we're gonna win. And then the missed kick, I thought you were gonna abuse him like you did with that South guy on Friday night.
Yes.
Go fuck your nan or something. I know you too well, my friend. I know you too well.
All right, let's move on from the Cowboys draw with the Dolphins. Let's go to the other draw that happened tonight. Broncos and the Titans. Look, I don't want to be negative because it's a trial game, but this game was shit. I did not enjoy this game at all. I enjoyed watching Reece Walsh playing great football, but everything else about this game, I mean, Jordan Pereira scored a try of the year contender in the corner. A lot of people were upset about the refereeing in this game. The Titans had a lot of shit go against them in the first half, and then the Broncos had a bit of bullshit go against them in the second half, so it ended up evening itself out. What'd you make of this Broncos-Titans trial game? Broncos played quite a fair few experienced guys, and so did the Gold Coast.
Yeah, look, I think they all thought this was going to be the best trial of the weekend because of the amount of stars were playing, but wasn't. Yeah. Wasn't at all. But, look, I think, again, it's a trial. It's all about getting their combinations right and getting it the first hit out of the season. So you can't really judge a team after a trial. So the Broncos, like I said, Reece Walsh had a good start, played really well, scored a nice try. What about that was pretty good too. Good goal kick. I think it was like 24-6 at halftime. Then the Titans came back 3 tries and they almost pinched it in the end.
Yeah, the comeback.
They got a draw, and then I must say the last 5 minutes of that game management was absolutely pus.
Oh,
not from the Titans, from the Broncos. From the Broncos.
Both of them.
They ran on the last tackle, and this is where everyone's like, "Oh, why go for field goal?" This is the perfect game management that you can get right in the trial
to learn.
Learn exactly right. You had like Reece Walsh. I don't think it might have been taken off, but you have.
It was off.
Did what's his name? Did Tyron Roberts play for the Broncos? Was that him there?
Nah, not Roberts. That was
Jack. Ball number 7.
Jack Ahern.
Okay, but like that would have been the perfect opportunity there from both teams there to ace that game by just a structured set, run through the middle, and then swap back to take the field goal. Like it's a trial. Oh, 100K doesn't really matter, all that kind of stuff. But that's perfect scenario for these boys, even if they don't play for the Broncos or the Titans this year. You go back, play for Souths. You play for Redcliffe. Oh, no, not Redcliffe anymore, sorry. Play for Norths. Play for Wynnum. For the Titans, you play for Burleigh. You play for Tweed. That's the perfect game scenario there where you kick the winning field goal and you win your team the win or whatever.
Yeah.
That would have been the perfect
100%.
scenario there. And I think game management in the last 10 minutes there was shocking. So, but anyway.
Yeah, look, the Titans had some chances, bro. Toby Sexton, he's played enough NRL to now to ice these sort of games.
I don't think much of a chance in that last 5 minutes to win it. I think it was more the Broncos, but they dropped us off the kickoff. So the Broncos, in a normal game, you would have thought they would have slid back, kicked the field goal, and they would have won that. But they did not play well in that last 5 minutes. That's for sure. But learning curves, there's only learning curves, so don't beat yourself over it.
All right, let's have a look at some of the main stars from today's game. So obviously Reece Walsh played very well. Pereira, outstanding. What'd you make of Ezra Mann in the halves today with Jack Ahern? Ezra Mann didn't play the whole game, but he had some nice touches, didn't he, Ezra Mann?
Yeah, well, he proved himself last year. He's a handy player. Again, like linking up with a new halves pairing, always different. Like obviously he's going to have Adam Reynolds there in the 7. So it's all hard to judge. Like I said, it's all hard to judge from just off a trial. But he played okay. Yeah. Not sure if he plays next week. It all depends on what Kevin Walters wants from the Broncos. But no, I thought he had some nice touches.
Yeah, I thought Corey Pace at dummy half looked a bit lost, along with Billy Walters. They both looked lost at dummy half, to be honest. Corey Jensen in the middle, very good. I want to give a rap to Martin Tapau, come off the bench for the Broncos and did a very, very good job. Look, it was one of those games, wasn't it? Tristan Saylor come off the bench and did well at fullback for when Reece Walsh went off, along with Tyson Smoothy. They're probably all the Broncos players for me that I reckon that definitely stood out from tonight's game.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, they're probably their best there for Broncos there.
And as for the Gold Coast, Jaden Campbell, thought he was a standout for them. That Jojo Fafita did some really good things for him. That other Pereira.
I was happy with Jojo Fafita.
Yeah, Jojo Fafita was fine. Toby Sexton was shit, but Tanner Boyd looked all right.
Yeah. So I
like Tanner Boyd
this year. So obviously Foran has to be there somewhere, but who plays that role? Obviously Sam Barrett's 9.
Look, I think the Titans' plan is going to be Brimson fullback, Tanner Boyd 5'8", 4.5 back, Verrills at hooker, Aaron Clark will be the 13, and I'm guessing Jaden Campbell will be the 14. That's what I'm getting at.
Do you reckon that the Dolphins might have a go at Campbell? If that's where they're going to go, the Dolphins go, hey mate, you want to play constant first grader starting every week?
I can see it. I can see it, bro. I can.
It's a shame because I thought Campbell
was good.
He's a good player, but
well, bro, look at this. The Dragons. They don't even have a regular fullback at the moment. What about the Dragons? They should be ringing Jaden Campbell's manager and being, hey, the Dragons need a fullback. Come down here and you'll be starting fullback for the Dragons week in, week out.
Come to a club that has history.
Yeah, go to a club that you actually might be all right at.
I think the Titans this year, I think last year that what they got wrong last year is the fact they went with youth than experience. This year, I think they've rectified that problem by having Verrills, having Foran, having Brimson at fullback. That's the experience that probably would have helped them last year, and I think it will help them this year. So we'll see how we go with those Titans. That's for sure. We'll see how we go.
Yeah. And we'll just go to the forward pack quickly. Jamin Jolliffe in the front row. fuck, it was good tonight. He ran for 213 metres. It was
Yep.
very good.
Yeah.
Joe Stimson did some great things. David Fafita, he was okay. Definitely needs to get more involved, though. Aaron Clark had some nice moments in the middle. And I just want to mention this. It was great to see Trayman Spry play. Ever since that off-field incident where he was bleeding on the brain and we all thought he was never going to play footy again, good to see him back playing rugby league again. He was good tonight.
Yeah, that's great. That's great to see. We all like those stuff in rugby league, so it's great to see him back.
I love that stuff. Yeah, it's a great comeback story.
Great comeback as well.
All right, last thing on this game. Man of the match, Haynsey. Who would you give it to from the Broncos Titans?
I'll go Reece Walsh. He played well.
Yeah, me too. Reece Walsh. If I had to pick one for the, if I had to pick one for the Titans, I'd probably go Jamin Jolliffe in the front row.
Okay. Very ironic though that the Warriors, not the Warriors, the Broncos let him go 3 years ago because he was too small, but now here he is. Now everyone love like on his dick again. Like, oh, here goes Reece Walsh. You guys didn't want him 3 years ago, and now you probably want to have Sam Walker back too. Fucking
yeah, they want everyone back. Yeah. All right, Haynsey, mate. Thanks for coming on the Sunday pre-season review, reviewing all 4 games with me, mate. It's been good. Thanks for coming on, brother.
No worries, mate. I'll see you next week sometime. That's for sure.
I'm sure I will some stage. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe to Haynsey on YouTube. I'll leave his YouTube channel in the link below. I just gotta update that now, so I'll get that done. Anyway, guys, we're getting out of here. Have a great night. We'll see you all in the next one.